Welcome to the first Study GRC privacy stream. So my name is Chris Whitlock. I'm the president and founder of Study GRC, and joining me today is Dwight.
Hi guys, I'm Dwight. I'm a certified privacy professional and excited to use this new show to educate and engage everyone about what's happening in the privacy world.
Yeah, privacy is just becoming a lot more popular these days, especially with all the different advancements with technology and the industries, especially in the cybersecurity realm. There's a lot of breaches that are occurring, a lot of different, hardware devices and so forth. And I think it's really, really hard for not only consumers, but even practitioners to keep up with that and be informed on it.
So, what we're going to do is give you this 15-minute show every week. We're going to try to keep it short, try to really give you some bite sized privacy news, some bite sized privacy tips. Some weeks it's going to have to maybe stretch into another week when we get into these really sort of hairy topics, but we're really excited to break it down with you, engage with you. We want you to jump in the chat and share articles and resources and sort of merge as much of this, GRC mafia, all these great GRC vibes, and bring them over to the privacy world as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, and definitely getting involved with the community aspect is a large portion of it. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, definitely drop them in the comments. Join the Discord server. We'll put all of the links down below in the descriptions as well, um, and definitely get back to everybody. And then let's go ahead. Let me see. So, like for an example, this would be something that we would go through. And so Apple's next AirTag is coming in 2025 with privacy improvements. So one of the big things that I got out of this article here is that they're going to make it more difficult for the speaker to be removed, which was one of the bigger issues on the current version. What are some of your thoughts on that, Dwight?
I think these are pretty welcome by everyone to see something that can track you so accurately, have some guardrails on it. So seems like they're also trying to come up with uh, some frameworks for Bluetooth trackers in general. So making them safer would make me personally more more likely to use them. As a traveler, I think they could be helpful in a lot of situations. But as a privacy guy, I'm like, I don't know about this. Have
Well,
you
and
used
like
them?
a lot of people seem. So I have not used the AirTag. I forget the brand, but it's another brand that makes it one similar that I've had in the past. Um, I see a lot of people actually utilizing these for like their purses, their wallets, or their keys. From a privacy standpoint, I mean, to be honest with you, like it's kind of a love-hate relationship on it because it's really not using anything more than what's already built into your cell phone. Well, the biggest issue that's been out there is the fact that they could take out these speakers and then they could slip it in like your children's backpack or on your vehicle or something along those lines, and then you don't even know you're being tracked.
Right,
That's
right.
where it seems to become the biggest issue.
Yeah, and I think it became a hot topic in especially like some issues of stalking and harassment and things like that.
Yeah. And so, like, this is one of the examples of something that we would go through. We're going to have several different articles throughout each one. And like another example here is going to be this 23andMe. So 23andMe, if you haven't heard about it already, they're looking at being it's not a merger, it's an acquisition, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just feel like the company is at risk of going bankrupt or something, right? They keep doing layoffs and all this stuff, but they have so much data. There's a lot of question marks about what would happen with that data if they were to be bought by another company, or if they were allowed to fail. And this will be a constant sort of theme that you'll see us talking about. And one of the big issues in the U.S. is we don't have some comprehensive sort of law that would cover this. Even probably the closest thing, GINA, also a great acronym, doesn't really apply in this particular case because they're not a healthcare provider or insurance provider, so or using it for employment data. Um, so yeah, really all the only protections we have are really sort of reactionary if the FTC was to step in and say, okay, the sale of the company or the transfer of this data to this other company violates the expectations that you've outlined in your privacy policy or that you told your customers to expect. But that again, that's reactionary, and we don't really have a national privacy law, a comprehensive law that really protects us.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things that I take out of this is, I mean, it's just another example of how the laws and regulations and so forth, like they talk about with OSHA, is, all of their regulations are written in blood. Something has to go wrong before something actually happens. And this is the laws and regulations trying to catch up to where technology's gotten us now and where modern society is going. Um, the 23andMe, that's the biggest concern that I see is that, they're collecting health information, but they're not a healthcare provider, so none of it applies to them. So yeah, and then now they're looking at selling off the company itself because they're not making money, of course, after their data breaches and other issues and so forth. And so now you're looking at all of that DNA, being sold off, just like our, data, in other services. So the difference is that this is DNA. It's literally what we are, and it's not even our information, which is what we're used to getting, sold and bought and traded and so forth. This is, I mean, there's nothing more that hits closer to home than your literal DNA and what you're made of, which is what surprises me even more about this. So, and I think that this is going to be a huge hallmarker moving forward too, because I mean, some of the services are actually pretty neat. Okay, you being able to identify whether or not you're more prone for something can be beneficial for some individuals. But then what about that security aspect? And then how long are they allowed to have it? Are they allowed to just archive it? Are they allowed to sell the information? Like there's a lot of things that need to catch up on this industry.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And um, I think if you are giving your data, this is, giving your data. I mean, there's sorts of cool benefits. I think those have in the past kind of overshadowed, like being able to know more about your family history. All of that has sort of overshadowed some of the risks. But now with these sort of headlines, people are going to have to start being more aware, be a little bit more protective. And if you do go to these companies with your data, then you might want to go ahead and start to think down the line, like what might those risks be? What can I do if I've shared my data in the past? Is this a company that has a policy that allows me to come back later and remove my consent to ask for my information to be deleted? Things of that nature.
Well, and one of the big things that I've also come across in regards to like the 23andMe and the DNA collection is the concern on that is your DNA. And so like there's been individuals who are more concerned about their privacy and they want to remain private and they don't want that information to be out there or available for these companies. But then they have a relative, it could be an identical sibling, it could be a parent, or just some close relative to them who gives that information over, and then that could be a huge issue as well. So I'm kind of interested to see how that works out as well, because right now there's nothing that I'm aware of. So
Yeah, we can probably expect a lot more ambiguity, probably expect a lot more cases, a lot of the times in situations where there aren't these regulations, the way that it ends up getting improved or our privacy being protected, unfortunately, has to be through court cases, a lot of civil sort of class action suits and things of that nature. So, but that can be a slow process, especially for these big companies.
perfect. Was there anything else that you wanted to go through and add?
I think that's a good start for our first week. We'll wait to see if we've got any questions. You can also, I just want to remind everybody, you can also submit something that you might be seeing in the news or that you're interested in and want us to talk about. But we really want to just use the what's happening in the current news to be able to get on here and talk privacy a little bit more in depth, bring up some of those issues like talking today. Is that HIPAA related? Are AirTags, a violation of your privacy? Is that data protected in any way? All those question marks that we should be asking, and hopefully be able to relate them back to what we're doing in the workplace as well as GRC professionals. There will definitely be some things in the news or in the news that we're seeing currently that really we need to be thinking about to provide more robust, thoughtful ways to both be compliant as well as promote good security culture.
Couldn't even say that better. Yeah, so thank you all for going through and watching our introduction for this. Definitely drop your submissions, questions, comments, anything else in the comments down below. We'll put some of the links in the description. You can also join the Discord server, they'll be in the description as well. And then these will be released on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock Central. All right. And then don't forget to